Good morning, everybody. It's more of the JavaScript party. I'm my buddy Rhett. I got some nuts for her here. Put that in there for you, girls. She don't really like those kinds of nuts. I don't know what they are. They're like these little round nuts. So here we are. It is December 12th, 2025. It is 31 degrees outside, so it's a little bit under 0 degrees Celsius. Not quite -1 degree Celsius, but I would think it would be like 29.5 degrees Fahrenheit would be 1 degree Celsius, or -1 degrees Celsius. So here we are. We're trying to get some stuff working. I think we're in a really good spot. So basically, in my console now, when I hit this and I hit Add Viz, I get this table, and this table. Oh wow, this is different than yesterday. That is fascinating. Oh, value. Okay, so now the very first thing here is this guy here as opposed to value. So I don't know. Value has a capital V. I know I was thinking through this, we're doing like a console log of a dictionary. So maybe this is specific to dictionaries where it has a value. But this view isn't particularly useful. You probably will want to, I don't know. I think what I need to do is in every one of these types, I need to add like a type that's set to a constant, and that type, it'll be like type, an attribute with the name of type that is the type of thing it is, and then maybe only console log that and the type, and then also console log this object. I don't know. I really like the way this object lays out though. So I don't know if you console log the dictionary, if it's like this. But so this over here on the left is the ID. So you'll notice that this matches the very first attribute. It's kind of cool because it appears to show it in order of that that it's defined. The one exception to that is the viz component, because that is an actual Angular visualization component, which has like services and all kind of, like literally everything that is defined in there is on that. So which is, all of these are very interesting to me. But it looks like there's 3 that I'm not, or 4 that I'm not printing out at this time. So I did want to mention that, so in yesterday's video, somebody put like a thumbs down on it, and on my video. So there's always one thumbs up, and that's just my way of telling myself that I've actually validated that that the sound is on, and that everything seems to be fine in the actual video. So I upload it. Sometimes there'll be like some hitch. It doesn't quite work right in YouTube. Like there's a YouTube issue, or sometimes there's a problem with actually 99 times out of 100 it's a problem that I forgot to turn the sound on or something like that. But somebody did a down thumb, and I remember the very first time I got a down, I spent like probably hours and hours and hours obsessing about why somebody would down it, would give me a thumbs down. And then it kind of dawned on me that just from a purely accounting perspective, it's not feasible for me to spend more time on thinking about something than it took people to do. And if a lot of people started watching my videos, then I absolutely could not. Like, let's say it takes everybody 1/10 of a second and 1 million people thumbs down me. I do not have 1/1000 of a second to obsess about why 1 million people thumbs down, right? Like, so I'm in a luxurious position where at least I can spend as much time thinking about it as time that was put into thumbs downing. Someone thumbs downed it, and so I thought about it just for a second, and that was it. But then it dawned on me that that's not true. What's true is, yes, you shouldn't spend that much time thinking about the person that downed it. right? Because there's no, it's like, it would be very equivalent. I was thinking about this morning. Like, you woke up, you saw that it's 6 a.m., and you started thinking about, like, how does this affect someone in Siberia? How does this affect someone in Alaska? How does this affect somebody in the Bahamas? All right, it doesn't. Or it does. Absolutely does affect them. The time of day affects everybody. But you don't have enough information to be able to determine how it affects them. But you really should spend a lot of time thinking about how it affected you, because the way it affects you tells you about yourself. And there's nothing, you probably really need to understand yourself if you want to function well in society. And like, so for me, I was just like, oh man, they must not like the way I like the technical thing that I'm doing. Like, there's some technical aspect that they don't like. But it was like, that's just how I think. That talks about like how I would see it, not how they saw it. Like, who knows? Like, I'm starting to really think that, like, if you, like, you need to train your algorithm, or your algorithm will train you. And and a lot of times I will down things because I'm trying to train the algorithm not to show me things. You know, this is not what I want. And this could very well not be what somebody wants, right? So they're just trying to tell the algorithm, hey, this is not what I want, right? We don't have, like, it would be nice if there was multiple downs. Like, I just don't want to see something like this, versus I don't like what you said, versus I don't like whatever, the lighting, versus, whatever, I don't like plants being in there. Who knows, like, there's no telling. But anyways, we have a pretty good chance of finishing these. It is 8:33, so I have some time, and it would be nice to get the rest of these squared away. And I did find a good way to find these. In addition, yesterday it was showing like this value first. Now it's not, unfortunately. Now it'll be curious if I add another one. If it goes back to showing the value. Nope. So now it's, for some reason, now it's showing ST renderer as the very first thing instead of value. So figuring out how to get value to print out isn't as valuable now as it was. But I will say that this is very nice, and is definitely useful, and I definitely understand everything a little better now than I did before. It could be a lot more useful, and if I want it to be useful, I probably need to create like a view and actually populate an actual table in the UI, which, I don't know if it's quite time to do that yet, but it sure would make things a lot better if I could do that. And it would also make it easier to use end-to-end testing for validation. So like, I'm like, hey, when I add this should exist. When I add that and that should exist. If I had a table to go reference, that would probably be useful. So actually, I guess maybe that's what I want to do next. Which, is definitely going to take a good bit of time. But anyways, and it's definitely a rabbit hole that we're in. So I don't think I want that. Snoopy, stop it. Let's see, ST scene service. Oop. So when we create this, we generate. Okay, so generate ID is the one that if we're using generate ID, okay, so that's wrong, because associate. So the rule was I was going to make this STID if it did the association. So scene ID, and we do have another rabbit hole to go down, and that's why am I creating, I think it's a visualization ID in the animation. It doesn't make any sense. So that is like, and that's going to be tricky to figure out. But we want to look up generate ID. And we want to look throughout all the code, and everywhere where I have a generate ID, theoretically, that's weird because I thought in animations we had. That's not the one I just changed, I don't think. I don't know. I know that there was like an animation that creates a renderer ID, I believe. But so in this one, so we're creating a base material and we're never adding it. And the pattern I like to see is this dictionary. And right after I add it to this dictionary, creating it. So we're going to do this. This dot recyclable service dot associate object to ID, and then, and I don't really like that. I'm going to change this to ST material ID, and then I'm going to get rid of this since they're the same name. And apparently here's where we create the material. And this is where, oh, this is where we assign the ThreeJS material. Oh, this is where we created a ThreeJS material. Did I? Okay, so, yeah. This is supposed to be ST with a capital N. Did I misspell? Jeez, old Pete. ST material ID. And Laura, maybe I did some cussing in that last video that got me a thumbs down. I can't remember. I know every once in a while I will cuss. I try not to cuss, just in general. It's because, okay, I don't know. Oh, yeah. And that's because, oh, well, first of all, we send in ST material, but it does not accept that type. And like, it's so clear, right? It's so clear that this should be ST. Like, I've created schemes and now they're starting to self-enforce, and it's starting to become obvious when I don't. Okay, so basically we want to go over here to the definition, and then we want to go to this sequence types, and then we want to go to ST renderer. ST material. Now everybody's happy, I think. Oh, we got some kind of problem. Got a problem. What's the problem? An argument for ST type was not provided. Got confused. Go to definition. Okay, it takes the ID, the ST ID. So ST material ID, comma, and it is Friday, by the way. And I still have 15 minutes. Woo woo, woo woo woo. Okay, so now we've got our. And it sure would be nice. It's kind of funny because, yeah, this is not particularly useful at all anymore. We've kind of gone beyond the point where there's any value. But here's our new material. So now we can open this up. You'll see that this 3JS has its own ID. And that's important. I think camera also has a 3JS object, right? Associated. No. Okay, yeah, so I guess I was trying to get away from doing this, where I keep, yeah, so this is, it would be nice to get away from that. We don't want to actually have that, but it would be nice to have a lookup, a way to see the actual value. So this is super nice, right? It's super nice to be able to come in here and see the actual 3JS object. but it's not great that we have an actual reference to it. It'd be better if we had a reference to the ID. So material, that's like we've come up with a pattern. We've come up with a pattern, and now and we see that that the pattern isn't being maintained. See, we have this ST geometry. Well, see, I think there's some place that I probably have a dictionary of 3JS geometries, and that dictionary has that. So, yeah. And these are just like sort of challenges that just, weren't completely obvious to me when we first started this project. I selected this domain, and a big reason I selected this domain was because it was so difficult. Because for probably over 10 years, maybe even 15 years, I've been trying to build 3JS, and I built a lot of really cool things in 3JS. But like it was just like by the end of it, I didn't know what any of it was. I was no smarter in 3JS than I started. So here's where we do this. So we're going to change this to STID. So generate ID and generate STID do the exact same thing. And this is sort of my way of finding all instances. Okay, so ST mesh. So here's where we create a mesh. And here's where we have our dictionary. And I want to change this to ST mesh ID. Get rid of this. And as you can see, okay, so all we do is create the. So as part of this, we actually created geometry and a material. So that's probably another piece of the puzzle that needs to get sort of straightened out. Here's where we add to the dictionary, so that gives me a warm fuzzy. The thing that I'm not happy about is that yeah, I don't know. I was going to say I'm not happy about the material being here, but actually, no, it's just the ID, so that's fine. And all these things are kind of like debt, what you would call technical debt, but like it was also like I was using a credit card, but I didn't realize that it was a credit card. Someone was just like, hey, you can just go buy all that stuff. You just got to show me your card, and I don't realize, I have to pay that back. I did stuff, and I just wasn't quite aware that the consequences of it. ST mesh ID, comma, and then ST mesh. Snoopy. Hang on, I gotta run him out of here. I'll be right back. You gotta go. Sometimes when that dog just scratches himself just right, he just starts. I think that's a happy sound. I think he's making a happy sound, but it does not sound like a happy sound. But he just gets that spot where it's just like makes him go. But if you scratch it too, he'll do the exact same spot. He'll do the exact same thing. All right, so now we got to add our ST mesh to the list of things, and I don't know exactly how to get there. So I really should. this was, oh, dot associate object. Alright, let's just try to think. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to go to our interfaces. I'm trying to think more in like an architectural way. So there's our services, there's our components, there's our app. Inside our app we have our interfaces, we have our dictionary. This is a kind of dictionary, it's our base dictionary, and we want to do, I think it was ST mesh. Right, yeah. Colon ST mesh. And it is pulling them in on its own. It's coming up here and just bringing them in on its own. And sometimes it does that, sometimes it doesn't. It is in fact compiling now. We hit that, hit F12. This is becoming useless up here. And now, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And that's kind of one of the things you have to get used to as a software developer is like, oh, okay, that was great, now it sucks. I mean, it's just sort of the nature, but it can be very difficult because you don't really want to give up the things that you like. So was it mesh that we just did? Let's see if we look in here, we can see. Yeah, it was mesh. So you see we do have a 3 mesh in our mesh, which we don't. I think I'm trying to get away from that. So that's 2 of them. And it's, yeah, so basically now we can easily look to see where do we have objects. So this position, I don't think we need a list of positions, although that may end up becoming a thing. I could imagine that. ST animations, and this is associated, what is this? Okay, this is a kind of animation. That was a new thing. So this is a kind of animation, and it is a, so this is a list of all the animations, and so this is a continuous redraw, it's mesh rotation X, goes on forever, it has an animation ID of 8. So now we can come down to 8 and we can see it. So we kind of duplicated, it looks like. It has a value of 0.5, which 0.05, which I'm guessing is the speed at which it turns. I'm not sure. But obviously we don't want to have, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we have a list of animations. That'd be an interesting little thing to go down. All right, so now, and at this point we can actually see that we only have 2 left. And if we look over here in our search, we see that we have 4 left. So visualization service, renderer service, and this itself, we want to be able to delete that, and our mesh service. Okay, and so our mesh service we actually just finished. We have our associate, we create our ID, and then we have our renderer service, which I thought this was like inside of the animation service. I remember we had like a oh, we're actually already doing this one. Associate ST object to ID. So that one is done. So that's a little nerve-wracking because we have one that doesn't seem to be showing up here, or that's getting called twice. Okay, so is this getting added? Okay, so here we create a visualization and then we update the hash and things like that. So we have like a lot of like code that's just doing too much. And it's not very clear. So for some reason this is supposed to be creating it. It probably should just publish the fact that it got created, and then something should be listening for the fact that something got created, and then whatever that hashing should be being done wherever. This is sort of a side effect. I don't really like it. Additionally, I don't see anywhere where, well, we have, okay, so here we're using an array instead of a dictionary. So that's not a good thing either. But, and then it looks like we're doing sort of using the component. So we're getting our component, get st component by ID, and then based on the component's width, we're setting the visualization's width, which is probably not exactly what we're going to want in the future. Actually, that was one of the next things I wanted to implement as a new feature. But we got to quit going down these rabbit holes. But I think these rabbit holes are extremely important. But basically, what right now what that does, I think, is when we come in here, that sets the st width to the same as the component's width. But I would probably also want to see it as it's supposed to be, as it's been configured. So I didn't quite see right in my camera there. I was like, oh crap, where'd she go? But anyway, so there's a lot of issues here. This would probably be a good place to, I mean, this really should be a dictionary, not an array. I would imagine our get visualization function is a lot more complicated than it needs to be, because it probably goes looking in the array instead of just getting the ID dictionary. So anyways, but that is a problem to have in the future. So we don't need to do this because it is the same name. And then we want to, right after we do this, which, like I said, I don't really like it, but this dot recyclable service dot st visualization ID, comma st visualization, and I called it a visualization. I really should have called it an st visualization. St visualization. st visualization, and this is our st visualization ID. Visualization ID and our st visualization. And we know that in our types, are we still there with base dictionaries? We want to add st visualization. I believe that will fix it. Nope, maybe not. What did I do wrong? So let's click this. Visualize line 71. Oh my gosh, I did it again. Associate. There we go. Now I don't have any more in. Oh wait. This, we didn't change it. Generate stid. And it does not like this view at all. All right. So the only generate IDs there. So F12. Oh, interesting. So we have one before we even get started. So this is probably a problem. So we need to figure that out. So I would never have guessed that that was a problem. And we don't have that, but what? Oh, I guess it was because we were in that view, which, that's probably also a problem. Maybe that view, though, must, when it creates that component, it probably adds it. So anyways, we'll add one of these. Do we have any nulls? I don't see any nulls, but it's hard to tell. Oh, we have this null number 7. So I don't know how that's happening. So I guess that'll be the thing to try to figure out tomorrow. Theoretically, we should be able to just delete this function now. Oh, I gotta go. And I think number 7 is a null for some reason. So we got to figure that out. Why do I have a null for number 7? And it's kind of cool because we know the number, so we could actually add a debug statement there for if ID is number 7. If next ID is equal to 7, and we can just have it throw up the debugger as soon as debugger. And then basically hit this, and we are there. So basically we know, what do we know? I guess we can, oh, so when we go to add this animation, this is how we got called. See, we can click on that stack and we can actually go back. I wish, yeah, right there. And so we can say, oh, this got called from here, and this got called here, and then that got called. And it was trying to generate this stid, and then down here, well, it should have copied it. Oh, we should not have changed this renderer ID. This is that renderer ID. I don't know why we have that. And that is what we render. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a copy paste issue. We probably shouldn't have created this. I mean, it doesn't even look like we use it now that I see. Oh, wow. So that ends up being a lot easier than I thought. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.